Welcome, everybody. I'm Jim Gazzola. This is the Coach Heath Schroyer. This is not the Heath Schroyer show yet, but it's getting there.
Polk Nation, baby.
For $20, $20 naming rights, I'll call it the Heath Schroyer show. How's that? Well, we got
you're unbelievable.
Every week, I come in here, and it's something new.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Usually we're talking naming rights. We've talked about this week, but we've talked about kids getting money.
For sure.
The WAC conference, where is McNeese going to end up, what's going to happen and everything, all the changes in college sports. But this one is a game changer for you guys.
It is.
This week is
monumental, historic, all the adjectives you want to throw out there. It is. It's beyond a huge moment. To get the largest gift for naming rights of an athletic facility in school history is it's monumental.
Game changing.
It is game changing for many in many ways and for many reasons. But it's just phenomenal. It's I'm so proud of our team. This is really, it's not about me. It's about our team. It's about math. You know, we talked about this at the press conference, but when we formed the McNeese Athletic Foundation, the vision was to have moments like this, and is to have these moments. And so that's what's so exciting, is that, you know, when we had the vision, you know, and start to see it come, you know, with Claire Bertrand and Dr. Roos, and obviously, you know, Dr. Burkell leading the way. It's just a phenomenal time for our department, and I'm excited about it, Jim.
All right, let's get the details down.
Okay.
10-year,
Yep.
$2.5 million naming rights to the Legacy Center.
Legacy Center.
David and Kimberly Griffin from Chick-Fil-A, and she's from
Legacy
Jewelers.
Yes.
And they're giving you this, and that means the start of others to come in naming rights?
I think so, for sure. I mean, that's obviously the goal.
What's your kickback in this?
There's
if they get
zero.
$2.5 million, they get $20?
No.
Free
Zero.
Chick-fil-A?
No.
Free diamonds.
Listen,
come on, go for the diamonds
after
at least.
this, I'm not going to ask that man for a chicken nugget. I promise you. But
you guys took him to lunch after the press conference, right?
we did.
Did you go get pizza? Or did you
No,
get chicken nuggets?
we had a nice. It was a very, very nice lunch. I'm not going to tell you where, but it was a great lunch.
No, you don't tell me where because you don't invite me to anywhere.
Well, of course not, because I wanted it to be a good lunch.
I get invited anywhere.
And here's the thing, too.
I get I get this free beer that was free for every human being on the planet.
But you know what's great? You know, you talk about everything that's changed as new every week we come on. The one thing that is constant is we've got to get you a steamer for your jacket. I'm seriously, like, that is one consistent. You know, we're going to talk later about tradition and things like that, but the one tradition we do have to change.
When this show started, you came on in a McNeese basketball shirt. Now you're Mr. GQ tanned, and you're picking on me.
Basketball shirt. I didn't.
You know, the reason why I have to wear this kind of clothing is because you don't give me the free lunches.
Oh.
You take other people.
I might know a guy that can get you a sandwich here or there.
I might know. I'm sure you know a guy. So. The whole thing about naming rights, and I know a lot of people say in the past, well, that's not what McNeese used to do. You guys have kind of kicked that can down the road.
For sure.
But it does open up an opportunity of revenue that everybody else is doing. The obvious question is, what's the future? Because this now gives you a chance to expand.
I think the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that this does is it just shows that we're relevant. This athletic department is now relevant. We're thinking differently. We're thinking aggressively. We're thinking big, and we're going to be bold. But I think this obviously really opens up other opportunities. And as simple as there's a lot of people in this community, you know, that came up to me afterwards and said, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that, or you can do." I mean,
oh yeah, it's
you know, we're just, you know, but we're moving so fast right now. In the right direction, and we're behind. There's a long way to go, but this was such a huge moment for this department, this university, and more importantly, this community. And you know, we're going to have David on here for a couple segments, and you're just going to see and feel what a genuine guy he is, and not only just about McNeese, but the legacy that he's going to leave in this community. It's just phenomenal, and you're going to be able to really, and Polk Nation is going to get a chance to really meet this guy.
I hate to get into this question with you, but it has to be done, even though we're 3 weeks out from the start of the season. COVID questions are coming to me about masks, football games. It's an outdoor event. Right now there's no limits on seating.
Correct.
And there's no mask requirement as of now.
Correct.
Okay. That is obviously subject to change, like everything else in this.
For sure, but I mean, right now it's wide open, and we want to fill the hole up. Obviously, it's personal choice and what you want to do and what you want to wear. But we're
tired of dealing with that.
Oh gosh, for sure, buddy. It's a lot.
Look, man, you've been here a year. You've had 2 hurricanes, storms, pandemic, gone through naming rights. What more could you want?
Hey, I love it. You know what? Keep bringing it, because it just makes us bigger, better, and stronger.
When we come back, we'll have David Griffin join us right after this on Polk Nation.
Welcome back to Polk Nation. It's a pleasure to have Mr. David Griffin. Hey, welcome to Polk Nation, my friend.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
Listen, wow, what a time.
Yeah.
What you and your wife, Kimberly, have done for this university and our department. It's the largest gift for naming rights of an athletic facility in the history of McNeese.
Yeah.
The new arena is now the Legacy Center. Let's get right to it.
Sure.
Tell Polk Nation your story. I know you got here 10 years ago, but give a little bit of history about why you're here, how'd you get here, all that.
Yeah. So first off, thanks for letting me be on the show. Appreciate this. So June was 10 years for us. We moved down here. Chick-Fil-A is my primary business. I'm a franchisee here in Lake Charles, the one on Nelson Road. And about 11 years ago, they called and said, hey, we are looking to expand a freestander into Lake Charles. Would you be interested? And I came down here, spent some time here. We said, yep, we think we'd love to be in this community. We came here. June was 10 years for me. August 11th will be our 10-year anniversary of opening up. My wife came down. We weren't married at the time, got married since we've lived here. And she came down and we just started growing the restaurant, growing the business, getting to meet people in the community. I did that for 4 or 5 years. And year 5 or 6, we're like, okay, we're here, the business is growing, what's next? And so something we got involved with was we had seen a news show by Brittany Glazer, had done something on foster kids and just the needs that were in Calcasieu Parish in the southwest Louisiana. And we looked at each other and said, hey, I think we could get in that. I think we could do that. We've got room, we've got time. And so long story short, we got involved with fostering children and just supporting child and family services. And, we've done that for a while, all along, just continuing to grow our businesses. Kimberly expanded hers into Legacy Jewelers. We've got a couple other concepts that we do. But from about year 2, we had first met Coach Justin Hill. He and I got here about the same time, and I remember him coming in the dining room one day, and we were talking about like $1,000 sponsorship. And I looked at Coach Hill and I said, hey, give me your philosophy on baseball. And he said, David, it's very simple. I use the game of baseball to grow men. And ever since then, he and I have been good friends, and we got to know some past coaches who have since moved on, and from them we got to know the current coaches, James Landreneau, Drew Fitzgerald, Landon Hofer, Jimmy Bunting, a lot of those guys, like we've just gotten to be good friends with them, on and off the field, on and off the courts, and just wanted to see their programs do well. And over time, we've got to meet a lot of the athletes and administrators, and it's just we have a deep love of the people at McNeese, and that's kind of where we got to.
That's really cool.
And so,
isn't it a great community?
Love it.
It's just you can't describe it. I know, Jim, we talk about it all the time. Okay, and you are Darth Vader and everyone, but this is the greatest place ever.
Absolutely.
Is Southwest Louisiana. I'm just telling you, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I call the man the ultimate car salesman.
He's good at his job.
Everything. Obviously, he can sell. Okay, I want to get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of this, because one of the big questions, obviously, is after the hurricanes, where do people donate to? What do they do? Yeah. Why did you go with this project over other things, and especially because it's going to get a lot of attention?
Sure.
What attracted you to the McNeese project?
Sure. So we've done a lot of what I would call smaller sponsorships. It's still big dollars, but it's smaller sponsorships. And I had been having the discussion with Claire Bertrand, who's over the Athletic Foundation, and Heath, and basically we just said, hey, we can do smaller contributions, but is there something big that we're trying to accomplish? And that's when, about a month and a half ago, they introduced the idea of the H&HP becoming something new, something different. And so that's kind of where that came from.
The thing I find interesting is most people want to put their name on it, their business on it. Why did you decide to go in the direction you did with the naming?
I want it to be more than a family name. I want it to be more than a business name. It's something that if the day comes, we can no longer be that sponsor. Somebody else you can pick up the concept or the idea of what is your legacy. Anybody can pick that up and run with it. I want it to be a long-term idea, and it's not just our family, it's not just our businesses, but what are we doing in the community long-term?
And you kind of bought into all this because you're a fan yourself of McNeese.
Absolutely. I love it. Yeah. So I came originally from Auburn, Alabama. That's where I was born. And when I got down here, I said, there's just something special about this. At Auburn, you don't get to be around the coaches. You don't get to be around. It's not knocking them. They're a huge program, but you don't get the access. You don't get those relationships. Kim and I are all about relationships. And so that's what we've built here is the relationships with the coaches. And we love it. I mean, you said it. The people here, that's the treasure of Southwest Louisiana. And any way we can support them, that's what we're trying to do.
I'd like you to do one sponsorship for me.
Okay.
A smaller sponsorship.
Here we go.
Okay.
I'd like
you ready?
On the court, I'd like you to have the he swear box where he has to stay in. Because that guy never stayed in the box when he was the coach. He was always outside of the box. Can you do that for us?
You're asking me to do the impossible. I can't do that. I can't do that.
I thought we should have one of those guard dog things where you zap the person right when he comes out of it, but that wouldn't go out.
Is it the Schroyer shot collar?
That'd be great.
Is that it?
He's creating
there
a
you go.
monster. Here we go.
That's
Here we
perfect.
go.
I also want to sponsor Heath Shore bobblehead night.
Yeah, I'm glad everyone you just pick on me all the time. It's okay. I get it. I understand.
When we come back, we'll talk more about the naming rights on Polk Nation right after this. We're back with David Griffin of Chick-Fil-A, Legacy Jewelers, and now the Legacy Center.
Yeah.
I guess the one thing that everybody wants to know is what are you getting out of the naming rights, but also what do you want to attach? What do you want this university to do as you attach your name to it? What do you want to see it do?
Yeah. So we were talking earlier. It's bigger than just a name. It is, and that's why we didn't put our family name on it. That's why we didn't put our businesses. Legacy for Kim and I, it's a call to action. It's a call to awareness. The people that we surround ourselves with, the people that work for us, we're asking them, how do you want to spend your life? What are you doing with your family? What are you doing with your future? What are you doing with your career? How are you leaving an impact in the world around you? And so when we talk about a call to awareness, there's so many different groups that can go to. For us, with our passion with working with child and family services, it's bringing awareness to the needs in Southwest Louisiana. That's one thing. It's our platform for bringing needs to light. And then, for students, when I think about first day of college, I mean, your future's in front of you. Your future starts that day. And it allows you to pose that question, what do you want out of your 4 or 5 years here at McNeese? What's your plan? How do you want to give back? What are your goals? What are your dreams? Your legacy starts on day one. And it's just, what are you going to do with the time you have? What are you going to do with your time, your talent, your resources? And it's really just a challenge to the community. It's been through so much. I mean, everybody's sitting around, everybody's watching this. We've all been through the same thing. And I think 2020, just the past 18 months, was a chance to really sit back, evaluate, and reset how people do things,
One thing about it is you say you want to make an impact. So when you invest in this, you want to make the biggest impact possible.
Right.
That kind of goes with what you said the other day was McNeese, you talked about the future. You saw the vision they have.
Yes.
So obviously the vision they have is bigger than just what they are now. How important was that to have them kind of sell you on that to make sure you go ahead with the project?
It was huge. It's hard to even put into words. It's not just what they're selling. It's when they talk about where they want to be, what they want to do, who they want to be. We want to be a part of that. I think McNeese is such a huge part of the community in Southwest Louisiana. The way you advance Southwest Louisiana, in part, is by advancing the university. Dr. Burkell has called, athletics the front porch of the university. And I think you can argue if it's the front porch of the university, it's the front porch of Southwest Louisiana. Kim and I want to see that time when Southwest Louisiana flourishes again. We've been through so much. It's time to rebuild. It's time to refocus. We long for the day when we flourish as a community again.
And Heath, I guess my question to you is, you're now tied with them for 10 years. how important is it not to just take highest bidder, but to get the right partner?
Oh, it was everything. I mean, when we sat and started talking about naming rights, especially to this arena, because it's the nicest facility in Southwest Louisiana in the 5-parish area, probably in the state. So you start thinking about, and there's been, and David did a great job at the press conference, and the Navars and the Tarvers and Doriers, and there's been so many people, the Millers. There have been so many people give to this university. We wouldn't be here without them.
Absolutely.
But you start thinking about, okay, what does the next 10, 20 years look like? And for us, Claire and I and Dr. Roos, we kept coming back to, man, it would be so great if the Griffins would do it, because they have a young family, and we can build this thing, and we just love their mission, and what they've done with adoption and foster children, and the difference that these two people have made in the world is unbelievable, and what they're going to do is you can't even measure it. So yes, to get them to do this, it was the right fit at the right time with the right people.
You want to tell me what the next 10 years look like?
For sure. I think they're going to, yeah. I mean, I think that, we're not going to sit idle.
Right.
I said this at the press conference. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to think big, and we're going to be bold. This is bold. And I said this, what they did was aggressive and big, and it's bold. And, let's just not apologize for being McNeese. When I got here, the most frustrating thing was, well, we're just McNeese. Well, no. And that was the number one thing that I wanted to do when I took over as the AD, was to just try to change the mindset of, why not? Why can't we do that? And I loved how he articulated it.
By the way, that's the most refreshing thing that ever happened here was 10 years, was you guys coming in and doing that.
For sure.
Wow. Because until then, things like this, honestly, I'd pushed this show for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And it took that kind of attitude and change to even get this type of show on the air.
Right.
So that's something that I think you guys should be applauded to. And I want to see what the next steps are, including the FBS.
We'll see. I mean, obviously, I know we've talked about it many times, but I mean, obviously, college athletics is changing all the time.
Right.
And you want to be in a situation that, to be able to read the tea leaves and have opportunities. And you don't know where it's going to all end or if it goes anywhere, but you want to be in a position, and this type of commitment and the type of attitude that we now have allows us to do that.
When we come back on segment 3, David will stay with us right after this on Polk Nation.
Welcome back to Polk Nation. David, let's get into this. Obviously, you're a successful business owner. It's important to stay relevant in business.
Yes.
And over the last 18 months, business all across the country, let alone Lake Charles, has changed. How have you remained not only relevant, but how have you been so successful over the last 18 months?
Oh, right, great question. Yeah. The past 18 months changed a lot of how we did business. I mean, we had to. When the pandemic first hit, business collapsed 60%. You're trying to survive. Sure. I know you guys took a hit on your budget. You got to find ways to survive. And relevant changed. Like what it took to be relevant changed for us. And we changed some of the way we did things. I think that you've always got to be willing to evolve. Business models change, environments change, things happen, and if you're so stuck in the way you do things that you're not willing to evolve, I think it creates a dangerous situation for you. And so just there's always that aspect of evolution. It doesn't mean that you have to change who you are at your core.
For sure,
your identity is still who you are at your core. The way you do things has to evolve.
Well, it's funny because we talked about tradition.
Right.
And, in athletics, especially here at McNeese, there's some great traditions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't want to get away from some of the great traditions. But if you have too many, and tradition can be limiting.
Yes.
And I think that, you and I have had lunch together
yes.
multiple times, and we've talked about that concept of just, if you just lock into this is all we've ever done because this is all we've ever done, then, the world's going to pass you by. I think
yes.
that's the great thing. I mean, talk a little bit about like the cars for Chick-fil-A. Like, I think that's so cool.
Yeah,
About evolving.
Yeah, so when our dining rooms closed, I went out and bought 13 cars, and we had our best month ever last month. And it's just evolution. Our dining room is now being delivered across Southwest Louisiana. Yeah. I think change for the sake of change is dangerous. Mm-hmm. I think a willingness to change the way you're willing to do things from a task standpoint, it's just how you do things has to be fluid. You got to be willing to change. It's kind of going somewhere with that. And
Heath, in a way, is how much have you been forced to change because of the last 18 months, especially the last 12 months, to where maybe you're not getting any competition or any feedback on negative from naming rights because now it has to be.
I think for us, if you want to be completely honest and transparent, I think we've had to change out of necessity, not really choice. Because we had so much thrown at us. And I always say this, that even of the 26 years I spent coaching, I would try to find time to go meet with people outside of athletics and outside of coaching. And David is no different. The people who are successful in their businesses and run companies, leadership is leadership. It's about managing people. It's about clear objectives and accountability and vision. And that's what's so great about what you guys have done. Yep. What Kimberly has done in her business, and that's what's so neat about going back to the partnership that we were able to have now with the Legacy Center. It just feels so right.
So we talked about opportunities, and I don't know what the official number is, but I've heard $200 million. When would have McNeese State ever gotten a $200 million infusion of cash to upgrade their facilities?
Never.
And so what you and what Dr. Burkell and what other, Dr. Roos have done is you've seen the opportunity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was hard. Yeah. Would we want to go through it again? Not by choice.
Sure.
But I think the leadership of McNeese is grasping this opportunity, and I think that the future is brighter because of it.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, you think about whenever there's a challenge, there's opportunity.
That's right. That's right.
And you just can't let the opportunity pass.
That's right.
And I think for too long, there's been opportunities for this university and more importantly this athletic department in the last 10, 15 years that just kind of we chose not to do that and not to evolve and grow.
Miss the train, he said.
Yeah,
Miss the train, Dr. Burkell said.
Right.
That's right.
And now I'm so excited because, if and when the opportunities that are right for us come along, we're not going to miss the train again.
I think we're in a great position.
We are.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with people like you and yourself.
Well, thank you.
And your beautiful wife, Kimberly, and your kids. It's so great. I mean, I'm just, it's just such a huge moment. It's a huge time for McNeese Athletics, and we just appreciate you.
Thank you. Hey, we love it. It's great. We're having a lot of fun, and we love the people.
There you go.
Well, when you combine chicken nuggets and diamonds, I guess you get $2.5 million for Nick Schwer, huh? We'll see you next time on Poke Nation right after the next week.